So let's pick a Wales team ahead of their massive game against Japan. It's massive because, yes, of course they need a win to get the Steve Tandy era off and running, but they need it for the World Cup draw. If they're not in the top 12, they're in a pool of death, and their World Cup could be over before it's even started. So it is that big, I think. They should win, I think, player for player. They are a better team than Japan, but I think there's some big selection decisions that Steve Tandy needs to make as well. Against Argentina, there were some positives. They were dangerous, but they made some terrible decisions, some really bad mistakes, defensive blunders. We'll get into that a little bit with which players we drop potentially. But if you want to try and predict what Steve Tandy's going to do, then of course my starting lineup is the place to go. And indeed, we had a winner on that game. Liam Butler guessed the correct team against Argentina, 1-15 exact shirt numbers, and he is going to Wales versus France next year. So if you get it right, you're probably winning outright, because it's a tricky thing to do. But if you think you can guess what Steve Tandy's going to do enter my starting lineup either on their website or on their app. Good luck with that. But I'm going to name the team that I would like Steve Tandy to pick. So starting in the front row, scrummaging wise, they went pretty well against Argentina. Argentina aren't the biggest scrummagers these days, but still they went fairly well, Carey and Azirati. But then when Smith and Griffin came on, it went downhill. Not sure why, but at the moment, stick with those guys. Around the park, we didn't see a lot of carry. We saw one big carry from Azirati. We need more. They need big carriers. We saw Lake take up plenty of ball, score a try, look very powerful, but we need more from that front row for sure. Second row, we saw Jenkins, we saw Beard last time out. Beard is a big, experienced dude, but is that about it? We saw hardly anything from him. He needed to be carrying massive. He isn't really doing that. I think against Japan, where you don't need the massive size, I think you go for a younger pairing, Jenkins and Freddie Thomas. You need something a bit different, a bit fresher. And I also think you need to make a statement to say it doesn't matter how experienced you are, we need top-level performances. In the back row, obviously a massive disappointment that Jack Morgan is injured. That is going to weaken them, definitely. Where should they go? Well, I am anticipating a call-up of Tommy Raffel at time of recording. We don't know that yet, but I'm kind of getting ahead of the game. If he's not, my apologies. Someone else is going to have to go there, but I think that is the obvious pick. Now, the other big call is I've put Wainwright on the bench. Like I said, you don't need that size. Plus, he hasn't been amazing, to be honest. I prefer Cracknell at 8. I thought he should have been starting there last game. I'm sticking with that. We saw Mann at 6 in the last match, and I thought he was really good, actually. So I think Mann stays on performance, rewarding good performances. Raffel and Cracknell, you've got a bit of everything there, some line out, some jackling, some big carrying. I think you might as well give it a crack. It's a different looking pack and they need to go well for sure. Against Argentina, Thomas Williams was fantastic. He is a world-class player, and obviously he plays definitely alongside Dan Edwards once again. I think we saw definitely glimpses of his amazing pace. I like his kicking, his passing. He looks assured, he looks confident. Stick with him for the whole of the 4 games, I think, if you can. I think maybe he is the guy going forward. Fingers crossed, because the centres weren't that great. They weren't the centres I'd picked for the Argentina game, Ben Thomas and Max Llewellyn, and they looked pretty powder puff, to be honest. I didn't see a lot from them, and we also saw that horrible kick out from Ben Thomas. Plenty of people saying that he should be banned even though it didn't make contact. Well, that's not how the law is written, but I understand that. And I think partly because of that, Tandy needs to make a stand and say, that's not acceptable, you're dropped just for that. But also performance-wise, I don't think either of them deserve to stay. Llewellyn's a big guy, but doesn't really offer an awful lot beyond that. So I think you need to rip that one up and go to Hawkins at 12. Still a ball player, but a bit bigger. And Tompkins at 13, who creates some fire, some power, some dynamism, and he's in good form. So I think you might as well try that. And I do have sympathy for Blair Murray, who I've dropped out of 15, but he's simply not tall enough. I know against Japan, maybe that's not going to be so much of an issue, but I think going forward it will. So they need to find their 15, and maybe Jacob Beetham is that man. A lot taller, a lot more physical, can play all over the place, but I think let's try him at 15. I think he needs to be in that back line. Keep Murray on the wing because he's very dangerous, very quick, one of the top performers attacking wise, and you have to try Reece Samet. So an all change back line, you need that speed of Reece Samet. Is he particularly subtle at the moment, Rees-Zammit? No, he's all speed. You saw his chip kicks in the last match. He was just clobbering it ahead and trying to chase. He needs to get back into rugby union with a bit more subtlety, but he's got the pace and power. So all change really in those outside backs. I think Wales do need to try and find a team going forward, but they do need to win this game straight away right now. On the bench, Jared Evans and Adams cover all the outside back positions, Hardy covering 9. And one more change on the bench there. I'm not even having Beard on the bench. Let's have a younger big man there in Davis. So that is my team. Let me know what yours would be down below. And if you can predict Tandy's team, have a go at my starting lineup and trying to win those Six Nations tickets. Good luck with that. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you next time.